Hey guys, welcome to the Gods Unchained beta with the Professor. All right, it's time for our Monday Mythic meta for the ranked weekend event that ran on January 14th, 15th, and 16th. Let's take a look at our results. Here's our list of our top players. We can see one player's achieved a perfect run, 25 out of 25. Congratulations. The rest of the top 10 is composed of 24 wins, very close to perfect runs, and also raising the bar. 23 wins is now not good enough to make into the top 10. Let's go into more details. For our top 10, we could see that first place played a Control War deck with the 25 wins. Second and third were Control Death. Control War took fourth and fifth. Nature took sixth, seventh, eighth with aggro and mid-range variants. And War closed out ninth and 10th place. We can see that most of the top 10 is composed of Control with a couple of aggro and mid-range. Also, mid-range decks in our current meta are very close to an aggro variant with just a slightly higher curve. Looking at our top 20, we can see that half of the top 20, 10 players played War, 5 players played Nature, 4 players played Death, 1 player played Magic. There were no Deception or Light players that made it into the top 20. For the most wins, we can see the best War deck managed 25 wins, the best Nature and Death deck managed 24 wins, the best Magic deck managed 23 wins, the best Deception deck managed 22 wins, and the best Light deck I found managed 20 wins. For our deck types, 13 out of the top 20 players played a Control deck, 5 aggro players made it into the top 20, and 2 players played mid-range in the top 20. Let's look at our top decks in more detail. Our top deck is the Control War deck with the Valka's Presence that went perfect 25-0. This one's the Control War deck that we've seen quite recently. You're looking to control your opponent's board early with cards like Master Tactician, Tavern Brawler, Archangel Bruiser, Magic Missile Launcher, Carnage Sweep. You have lots of blitz and removals transitioning to the mid-game with Orcish Elite, Aeneas, Herdicus, Hector, Prince of Troy. You have 2 copies of Soul Survivor, a very strong spell that gives +5 strength to one of your creatures and pretty much clears your opponent's board. One thing to talk about in this deck is the synergy. You have 2 copies of the Leviathan Hunter. It is a 1 mana 2/1. This one has synergy with Carnage Sweep with the relic equipped. It has synergy with Out of His Misery. It also has synergy with Soul Survivor. Playing a 1 mana creature and then slapping Soul Survivor is basically 7 points of damage to clear your opponent's board. Our best Death deck managed 24 wins. This one's a Control Death deck with the Blood Ritual God Power. You have your early removal and stalls, Siren of the Grave, Sulfuric Rain, Portable Fortress. You have Void Interaction with the Half-Life Canopic Hoarder. You have your late game mass removals and stalls with Neferu, Apocalypse Now, End Times, Demogorgon. You have your combo with the Khopesh, along with Hippocrates Monster, and also the Portable Fortress. Our best Nature deck managed 24 wins with the Selena Smart God Power. I'm calling this a mid-range deck due to it having a 1 7 mana cost card. However, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of our mid-range decks are closer to the aggro list with a higher curve. As we can see here, we see similar cards with aggro nature. You have Low Hanging Fruit, Marshwalker, Canopy Barrage, Faithfane Blade, Finian Fruitbearer, Underbrush Boar, Giant Pangolin, and the Hunt. We're also starting to see Falling Star get into more play. Falling Star is a 5 mana spell that gives your opponent's strongest creature burn +6, and it summons 3 1/2 badgers to your board, and all your creatures on your board receives +1 strength. Our best Magic deck managed 23 wins. This one's the aggro burn Magic deck with the Mage Bolt God Power. You have your low cost cards with creatures and spells like Ancient Text, Assistant Alchemist, Form of Power, Shadow Scryer, Street Conjurer, Star Shard Bolt, Tracking Bolt. You have card draw with Palace's Wand. This deck has some Aether synergy. You have your Miraculous Familiar, Dimension Looper, Planetar Sage, and Planetar Acolyte. You have your standard direct damage cards like Worm Breath, Monolith of Storm, and Epiphany. Our best Deception deck managed 22 wins. This one's a controlled Deception deck with the Orpheos Distraction God Power. This deck looks to control your opponent's board with Stoneskin Poison, Switch Duelist, Armor Lurker, Hunting Trap, Sleep Dart, Elixir the Panther, Elixir the Snake, Rapture Dance, Demogorgon. You have some stall cards with Pyramid Warden and Guild Enforcer. You have your value generation with the Hollow, That Which Aches, and also you're looking to use your opponent's cards against them. You have the Patient Pickpocket, Lightfoot Informant, and Cutthroat Insight. Our best light deck managed 20 wins. This one's an aggro light deck with the Summon Acolyte God Power. You have your low curve here with Blind Martyr, Cudgel of Atonement, Ritual Rod, Pyramid Warden, Skeleton Heavy. You have your strong mid-game cards like Light's Levy, Radiant Dawn, Highborn Knight, Master of Indulgences, CERN, Canonize, and you top out with Asterius. Taking a look at our meta snapshot for the weekend at the Mythic level, War's popularity is gaining on Nature with 30% for War and 31% for Nature. War's win rate is over 50% at 52.5 and positive across all the other gods. Nature has a 50% win rate with positive matchups versus Light, Magic, and Deception. Death's win rate is close to 50% with a decent population of 11.4%. Death is positive over Nature, Magic, and Deception. Magic also getting representation at 11.6%. However, it's sitting at a 47% win rate. And the least represented god is Light and Deception. Light is at the lowest with a 47% win rate. Light is positive versus Death and Magic. And Deception sitting at the lowest representation with the lowest win rate and positive versus Light. For our top 10 scoreboard that we refreshed recently for the start of 2022, we can see last week's results with new players populating into the top 10 here, gaining more points. So we now have 20 different players that made it into the top 10 so far for the last 2 weeks. We'll be expecting a lot more changes in the upcoming weeks as more players start popping into the top 10 and scoring some points. All right, here's a list of our top players again. Congratulations on a great weekend. Good luck on your prizes when you receive them later this week.